yesterday's scrimmage?
Well, I thought it was well put together again in respects to situational football, which we continue to grow into. For the most part, we had success in those situations. Explosive play showed up again, but we had less in this scrimmage than we had experienced previously, so that was better. Impressed with our play down on the goal line, which has a lot to do with attitude right now. So again, we see progress there. So overall, I think it's an improvement. I think it still brings about, many concerns in respects to consistency of what we're doing and how we're performing. So, we've got a couple weeks here to really clean it up and put ourselves in a position to play better football.
Are your linebackers starting to catch on as far as administrating things there up front and otherwise?
I think so. I think they're better. A lot of room still for improvement, but I see a little bit of a comfort level in respects to many of the situations, but a couple showed up again, same, without going into specifics, with the same result. So, but a couple of situations were not, the linebackers' communication fault. It's just not a good job by players not listening.
You talked about being physical. Have you seen that kind of growing as camp goes along with you guys?
I think the effort to be physical has been, been better. The end result still is, I think there's a lot of room to improve and get better. But as long as players are working hard to get better, and they continue to hear the same things over and over and over, they know those things are important, we'll get better. Physicality part of the game is something that I'm sure we'll be talking about all year long. We're not a real big defense once we move into the second level and safety positions. So we've got to play smart, play with leverage, and play fast to the ball. But I think we'll be talking about it again throughout the year, and we'll continue to work at it and emphasize it.
You talked about Trent Fisher getting a scholarship this week as a walk-on and what he's done so far in your camp.
Well, Trent's he's a hard worker. He brings all the characteristics that you really desire as a coach of a player. He comes to work every day. It's important to him, and it's just good to see a guy that really continued a football career because he loves the game, and to come here and impress coaches enough to earn a scholarship, I think says a lot about him as a young man. So really, really happy for him.
Has he got a chance to help you at safety this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I know there's been a lot of competition at defensive tackle. You, with free scrimmages now, start to see anybody really establish themselves on the inside?
I thought Jeff Whitaker stepped it up yesterday. I thought that he kind of separated himself from the rest of the guys. Outside of him, I would say no. I think right now we'll go into the first game, and we'll play a bunch of guys there. And if somebody gets hot and is playing well, then he'll get more plays. But they're showing up here every day to compete for playing time, and it just hasn't sorted itself out like we maybe had hoped it would. But again, you've got a lot of players there that are in developmental stages, and we're trying to move the process quickly through good training in the classroom and on the field, and then certainly hoping that the competition part of it shows up in respects to their competitive nature. But it's still cloudy right now.
What did Jeff do specifically yesterday to separate himself?
He did a nice job attacking. Had some real nice charges in some short yardage situation. It showed up and was beneficial for the entire defense. But we've been in that battle kind of a read kind of style opposed to an attacking transition, and they're young players that have habits. They've created habits, and we're trying to break those habits. And we're just, again, too inconsistent in that understanding right now. But we'll get better. We'll get better there.
Is the safety position kind of the same way as far as anybody grabbed hold of it there?
I think that Ryan and Jermaine have kind of, separated themselves in respects to being able to function the entire defense. There's a lot on their plate, a lot of communication involved, a lot of recognition involved that leads to communication, and both of them have kind of been ahead of the other guys, but it's still competitive, and I think the separation of those two to the others isn't significant enough that those other guys, they're going to expect a lot of playing time and continue to compete.
Brian, we haven't heard much at all about Enrique Florence. I mean, how is he progressing? What's he doing out there?
Well, he hasn't been practicing lately, so he's falling behind. Again, young players cannot miss time when they're in the learning process. Missing valuable time like practice right now it's difficult, very difficult for him. So hopefully he's doing a good job, doing the extra things in playbook and with film. And when he's back and healthy and ready to go, then he has continued to stay up with the other guys in respects to the overall system.
He's just banged up.
You're a little banged up right now.
All right, we'll ask about one more. Cornerback, I know Teresi didn't practice Saturday. I think he did yesterday. Is that sorting itself out?
Well, again, any time there's an injury involved to a player that's been in our rotation and competing, it sets that player back. So again, what's happened there is with him missing time is we've got a couple freshmen that have gotten a lot of reps, and they've had some impressive reps. They're still learning, but as a coach, the more experience a guy gets, the more you kind of trust that player. You've seen more responses from him that makes that whole situation again a little bit cloudy and competitive, which is a good thing. So he's got to come back out now, and he did a good job yesterday. I thought his effort on the field was outstanding, and so interesting position though as we approach a first game. So we should probably expect to see a number of guys again playing. And whoever goes out and plays well, that means more playing time.
Who are the freshmen that have been getting reps there? Have they impressed you?
Yeah, both Josh and Jonathan Jones and Josh Hosley have done a good job. Both made some very good plays yesterday. Jonathan in particular on a play where he came up and broke up a pass in a physical way. Impressive, but some of the things that you won't notice is just their overall execution of the defense is really, they've grabbed a hold of it and they're improving, getting better. So, we need to keep looking at them, and then they're freshmen, so we've got to have a plan as we enter the first game. What we want to do for them or do with them in respects to a full season. I'm talking about the whole redshirt deal versus playing time and all. So got a couple more practices here and early next week to kind of look at it and see what kind of comfort level we think they have.
At what point do you want to be like, man, okay, this is the guys that are going to play?
Well, I think that we'll look at it and we'll have a plan for the game in respects to how many plays a player is going to get. And again, if that area is under consideration in respects to a number of guys, we'll have a plan to get them in, and if they go out and perform well, then they'll stay in and they'll earn reps in the game. But not afraid of playing guys, but that's how we'll kind of set it up. We'll have an idea of how many plays a guy's going to play or what role maybe a particular guy is involved in, whether it be short yardage, whether it be in the red zone, whether it be in the goal line. But we want to involve as many players as we can and take advantage of really their physical traits that kind of fit different situations in the game.
Will you be in the press box on the field?
On the field.
Is that what you've always done?
Yeah. I was in the press box 1 year in the NFL, my first year with Atlanta. That's the only year I've ever spent in the press box.
Going back to the linebackers, have you seen any more consistency out of Frost?
Yeah, you know, I think there's a little bit of a movement there in the right way, but you know, still uncomfortable with the position, still kind of finding himself in respects to how he sees the game. But yeah, I think he's made some progress. Still a lot of work to do.
Just when we talk to him, it seems like he kind of recognizes that himself. Do you see that he recognizes what his shortcomings are?
I think he does, and that's one of the things that we really urge the young players to do, is to be honest about where they are. And probably one of the big differences between a lot of NFL players and college players, you know, NFL player, he starts to realize that this is where I am and this is where I need to go, where young players sometimes feel like maybe there's reasons outside themselves for not having playing time. And we try to get our guys to really be real, and that way they can focus in on areas that need to be improved and take responsibility for it. And Chris seems to be there, which again, that gives us a chance to speed up that process with developmental players.
How much has Jonathan Evans kind of picked up the defense? You didn't get a chance to see him in the spring. What have you seen out of him?
He's really coming on. You know, he's starting to play the game of football. You know, I think Jonathan's always had the ability to run at the ball, and you know, he's aggressive by nature. But he's doing some things in respects to, you know, some good discipline in our defense right now. So I see some real good progress with Jonathan right now.
Brian, I want to go back to the part about being honest about these kids. I mean, that seems like kind of an unusual idea in college. You know, you hear more about that in the NFL. Is that something you've kind of brought in from the NFL?
I don't know. I think I've always been that way.
Okay.
You know, I think maybe now I have a better awareness of it. But, you know, as I go back to my years in college, I've always, you know, tried to be what some of them might consider brutally honest. But, you know, I think I'm more in position now to at least, you know, talk to them about that and learn about that. So in the long run, again, it helps them solve their problems. Don't look elsewhere. It's on you, and you need to get it solved. And again, players that can recognize that they can improve more rapidly. There's no way out. If you look in the mirror and you're either getting it done or you're not, and you take responsibility and you find the ways to get it changed and improved.
Jake Holland, how's he doing playing? Jake Holland, how's he doing in the middle for you?
Some good signs this week. I think, you know, improvement, and Jake is, you know, he's the middle linebacker, so he's under pressure every day. And there's been no let up with that, and I think that he's beginning to adjust to that. I think he understands it. So he's done better. I've seen improvement with him. It's important that he, you know, creates an environment that the other 10 guys recognize he is out front of the huddle, he is making the calls, and everybody trusts and feels comfortable with that. So I think he took a step forward.
Seems like you guys really wanted him to step up and take ownership of that position. Have you seen him do that specifically?
Again, I think that I think that he moved in the right direction here in the last 5-6 days. Still a work in progress, but I think he's starting to get that. It's very important to him. He's a hard worker. He loves Auburn, and it's important to him to do well. And I think he's been focused on that without the realization that, hey, I'm the middle linebacker and I'm responsible to 10 other guys in respects to getting them lined up, making checks, and doing the things that a middle linebacker needs to do. You know, so he's growing in that area. He's growing.